The Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885 stands as a dark chapter in the history of colonialism, epitomizing the exploitation and dehumanization of Africa by European powers. This narration delves into the hidden truths and consequences of this pivotal event, which reshaped the continent and its peoples. The Berlin Conference, held from November 15, 1884 to February 26, 1885, was a pivotal event in the history of European colonialism in Africa. Organised by German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, the conference aimed to regulate European colonization and trade in Africa during a period known as the Scramble for Africa. This meeting involved representatives from 14 nations, including major powers such as Great Britain, France, Germany, Portugal and Belgium, but notably excluded any African representation. The conference was convened in response to rising tensions among European powers over territorial claims in Africa. Following the explorations of figures like Henry Morton Stanley, who charted much of the Congo River basin, European nations became increasingly interested in Africa's resources and potential markets for their industrial goods. The primary goals of the Berlin Conference were to establish guidelines for the partitioning of Africa among European powers, prevent conflicts between these nations over territorial claims, formalize existing claims and create new ones based on effective occupation. The Berlin Conference resulted in several significant agreements encapsulated in the General Act. Neutrality of rivers. The Congo and Niger rivers were declared neutral zones open to trade for all signatory powers. Principle of effective occupation. This principle mandated that a European power could only claim territory if it effectively occupied and governed it. This rule was intended to prevent nations from merely claiming land without actual control. Recognition of claims. The conference recognized King Leopold II of Belgium's claim over the Congo Free State, which he managed as a personal possession rather than a Belgian colony. Notification requirement. Any new territorial claims had to be communicated to other powers, fostering a framework for future negotiations and reducing the likelihood of disputes. The decisions made at the Berlin Conference had profound implications for Africa. Colonial expansion. Following the conference, European powers rapidly expanded their territorial claims across the continent. By 1900, nearly 90% of Africa was under European control, with only Liberia and Ethiopia remaining independent. Exploitation and suffering. The conference disregarded African interests and rights, leading to extensive exploitation of resources and severe impacts on indigenous populations. The imposition of foreign rule often resulted in violence, cultural dislocation, and significant population declines due to harsh colonial policies. Fragmentation of African states. The arbitrary borders drawn by colonial powers disregarded existing ethnic and cultural divisions, leading to long-term political instability that persists in many regions today.